the same time I'm talking to you.
Welcome, everybody. This is the group here at Impact Litigation, the litigation team. I got Charles Cook, that's moi. We ever had some busy man, Greg Siskin, Aaron Hall, and the wonderful Jennifer Howard, who has promised to say something today. Right, Jennifer?
Yes.
There we go. She's done for the day. Jeff will not be joining us tonight. And I actually invited Luke and Lily, but I don't know if they'll join us today. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. Let's just start out right at the top. Aaron, the Anunciato folks are about to get an email from us detailing what is happening in their case for the DV 2021 Anunciato people. So we'll get to you guys in a second. On the other 20, 30, how many? 28. We got 28 family and 5 employment. Is that what we have? So there are 33 Anunciato plaintiffs. The government has, they have to, next Friday, they have to file a motion to dismiss, right? Is that what they're going to file?
Yep.
We'll respond a week later, and then they'll reply, and the judge will do what the judge is going to do. I don't know. I mean, Aaron, did you see the email I forwarded you about something Curtis Morrison had said about Judge Chen?
About the special master?
Yeah. And something else. The Judge Chen had said something about that Anunciato was mostly about DV, so he was going to leave the DV stuff, and that Jacob was mostly about family, and he was going to deal with the family stuff, which doesn't appear to be consistent, but we want the folks to know we've got your back all through this process. So we'll be working on the family. We do have one of the families that was denied, had an appointment, was denied. Is that right, Aaron?
Yeah, we had one family that was denied on a public charge issue.
Yeah, but they can work with their lawyers and they can fix that out.
So let me...
Chuck, I just sent the email.
All right, Anunciato folks, check your emails. Anunciato DV 2020.
And everybody should know, Chuck seriously just rushed me into this. Like, as we're like within 1 minute of, I got this thing out to all of you. So if there's any mistakes in it, it's Chuck's fault.
So let me say for the Anunciato people, all of you are going to get this email. Please read it carefully. Please note that it says that there are certain things in there that we actually do not want shared.
We don't want the government to see them.
And there's things that we're not going to talk about today related to Anunciato, but I did want to address a couple of things. First, I've been getting some emails and tweets and DMs and stuff saying something to the effect of, you know, is Anunciato all lost? Is it a loss? And you know, it makes me wonder what people are talking about, because Anunciato was principally a challenge to PP 10014.
Right.
Now
that's what it says back in your FAQ. If you look at it, our goal is to get the ban lifted.
So that that ban is no longer there, and you know, I think it's a result of a few things. One, public pressure from people like you all, making sure that the government hears that ban was unjustified. And two, litigation. In cases like Anunciato, in cases that the other lawyers are bringing, litigation all around the country put a lot of pressure on them and got the ban lifted. So that was the principal result we were looking for. That said, we know that nobody wants the ban lifted just for the sake of the ban being lifted. They want their visas. And for that reason, we wanted to pivot and try to use Anunciato as a mechanism to pressure the government into actually adjudicating our plaintiffs' visas. Those efforts continue. I can tell you that in a case that Curtis Morrison's team had filed, and I think it was Young, the government sought a briefing extension on their motion to dismiss in their case. And we reached out to the government attorneys today, again, updating them with our plaintiffs' case numbers and saying, listen, here they are, just adjudicate them. We can give you an extension on your briefing if you need to. And so we haven't gotten a response back on that today, but that's what we're doing. We're going to continue to do it. When they file the motion to dismiss, we're going to respond and explain why it's not appropriate for the court to dismiss. And for the DV 2021 people, you need to check your emails. There's going to be something else going on, and I think Chuck's going to talk briefly about that.
All right. So where we are now is we've got a problem. We got two problems for DV 2021 people. Generally speaking, the big part of Anunciato was filed in November, within a month of the start of the fiscal year, to alert the court and the government that they were not issuing visas according to their illegal policy. The purpose of that was to put them on notice that we would be following up on this. And so we know now that basically they have issued essentially no DV 2021 visas for the first 6 months of fiscal year 2021, which leaves them 6 months to issue likely upwards of 53,000 visas. Now, we know that they're fully capable of issuing 6,000 visas in 3 weeks. They can do 2,000 visas a week. They could, technically speaking, issue all these visas. They could do it if they adopted the Gomez, Aker, Mohammed Fangjang, let's do our job theory. It appears, one, generally speaking, particularly to those that are not in regional ban countries, that, they get to it. And we have some very good, for our purposes, emails from consulates saying, yeah, we'll call you in when we get a chance. We got things to do, places to go, people to see. Maybe we'll get to you, maybe we won't. No judge is going to accept that. And fortunately, it's on their freaking Twitter. So that's been helpful to us. The other part of the DV 2021 are the regional ban countries who are still refusing to issue DV 2021 visas because of the regional bans, which is illegal. So we will be filing a new DV 2021 lawsuit. Greg, that should be going live here soon on the onboarding page. Is that right?
It is live.
It is live. Can you put the link up?
You have it in the private chat.
In the private chat. So we're going to put, this is the link we're going to put up here. This is the link, which, let's go here. I got to do a couple things. It always takes like 5 button clicks to make this happen. So this is the link. Go to the onboarding mass litigation clients page of Greg's Visa Law website. And at the very top, it'll say DV 2021 delays. All right. I'm actually going to click on Greg. I'm going to actually put on the actual direct page for this.
Okay.
The direct page for this right here. So this is the DV 2020 Manila litigation onboarding page. Really important. So this is how you can begin participating in this lawsuit. This particular lawsuit is only for DV 2021 recipients. Now, Greg, you have a couple of emails from people who wanted to be on the waiting list. Is that right?
Just a few. Yeah, and actually, my assistant Michael has been feverishly working to get that all of you into a spreadsheet so that I can send an email out tonight. But if you're hearing this, you don't need to wait for that email. That will be coming. But that is, yes, we will be sending out an email announcement tonight. But this is actually the first announcement, official announcement of this case. And you hopefully it will work as far as like all the tools on there. So finished at about 4:59 on there. But I think they should all work correctly.
So this is for any DV. Now, what's different about this case, because people say, what's the difference? Well, remember, Anunciato was only about getting rid of the ban. It was not about forcing them to issue visas within a certain time frame. Those are two different types of lawsuit. One is called a declaratory judgment action, where we're asking a judge to declare the law to a government agency. Anunciato was a declaratory judgment action. This new litigation will also be a declaratory judgment action, plus it will also be a mandamus. A mandamus action is a demand asking the judge to order the government to do a job it has been paid to do, but is not doing in a reasonable time frame. Now, you couldn't file a mandamus action in November in the first month of the fiscal year because there's no unreasonable delay 1 month in. Now, there is a 6-month demonstrable delay with repeated notice to the government that we would be bringing this action if they didn't adjudicate people. And now we have their statement saying, we're going to get to the case. So it's important that we're bringing this both for regional ban countries and non-regional ban countries, because the declaratory judgment part of this case is for regional ban countries. And the mandamus part of the case, which is important for all DV 2021 winners, is you must issue my visa before the end of the year, or you must adjudicate my visa. Now, let's be clear. Your case number today matters, but as Greg noted online, Department of State has now said publicly that they believe all numbers will be current, I think, by the June visa bulletin. Is that right, Greg? Did that mean June?
I think the announcement will come in June, but it might be the July bulletin.
Okay, so I would mean July, August, less than 3 months for something that they had basically 3 weeks to do last year. But by then, they should also be pretty far advanced in the numbers. So you've got the May and June numbers yet to fall. So we're going to bring this action on not only clearing the way, kind of like a bulldozer, clearing the way for regional ban issuance, but also to get our plaintiffs interviewed in the time frame. It's a mass mandamus action where all of our clients are similarly situated. Now, the government response is going to be the same, Aaron, right, as it was in Gomez and Aker. Oh, Judge, we're really busy. COVID, it's really bad. So how are we going to convince the judge, one, that it's now late enough to file a mandamus, and two, what else he should do if state gives this same bland reasoning?
Well, the case is going to be filed in the same district that Gomez Aker was in. And so all they have to do is basically review Judge Mehta's consideration of this issue. And the situation is going to be a little bit different this time, because last time with Judge Mehta, we were at the end of the fiscal year, right up against the deadline. They're going to have a little bit more time, but their response that, we'll get to it when we'll get to it, we have very recent history to show that they won't. And that a judge's order is going to be necessary to make them do their jobs, to get all 55,000 done during the fiscal year, or if that proves impossible, to order that any remaining visas be reserved into the next fiscal year. So I think the template is there for the judge's analysis.
Yeah, and we are required to file a notice of related case, which means, hey, is there any other cases like this in the district? So we'll have to let them know, and it may the cases are randomly assigned, but because there's a related case, they may give Judge Mehta the right to accept the case. Now, a lot of people don't like Judge Mehta for whatever reasons, but on the issue of visa issuance, he was on that. You have to issue these visas. You can't use as an excuse that there's an entry ban. So for the regional ban people, that's good. Now, on the other issue, the splitting of the baby and the numbers, actually, I think a Judge Mehta would be really good on this, because if you look at the math he used last year, he put them on notice. He said, look, you can't not issue visas when you've been doing all this other work. And they haven't. So I wouldn't mind getting Judge Mehta. Honestly, I would be fine with that. I'd be fine with any judge we get there for the most part. But I think we've got the head up here. This is not a class action. So unlike Gomez, which was a class action, this is not a class action. So you want in, you join. This is a mass action. Now, we will note this. for the Anunciato plaintiffs, you read the email we sent you because this pertains to you. Okay, so read that email and sign up. And I have to ask you, Greg, is there any charge for Anunciato plaintiffs here to be part of it?
No. In fact, we built the engagement letter app so that if you are an Anunciato plaintiff, it takes you on a different path and you'll get a different agreement that will not charge a fee.
All right. So we have our clients back. We do everything possible to protect you to make this happen. So it's no class actions. Now, people will ask, well, let me ask Jennifer. This is a trick question. I don't even know the answer to this question. Jennifer, why aren't we filing a class action? All right, she's laughing. All right, help her out here. Aaron, why aren't we filing a class action?
It'll slow it down first.
Yeah, it's going to be way slower.
Well, I mean, I think what we've concluded is that it doesn't need to be a class for the judge to make the order that we need.
Right.
And if we can do it without doing that, then it's better to do that. Now, I'm going to derail us for a half second here and say, some of the emails that we all get and some of the messages we all get say the class certification motion in Anunciato is what slowed us down. It's not. We can look back at the timeline of all of everything that happened there, and the judge had what he needed for the preliminary injunction. And he chose to give the new administration lots of time, and it was frustrating. But it was not the fact that it was pursued as a class, and at no time have we stopped advocating for named plaintiffs or delayed for named plaintiffs. So I want to be clear about that. But that said, what we've decided is in the new litigation, we don't need the class certification at this point to get the order we need. And so if we don't need it, we're not going to do it.
And so we're going to be trying to get all the visas reserved so that all of our plaintiffs, no matter how many we have. Now, sign up begins today, Greg. They have until looks like April 5th is the last day you can sign up. We will be filing a request for an injunction with this lawsuit. So we're not going to be delaying after we file to write stuff up. We're going to ask for basically a relatively quick hearing. And I would suspect that we would probably have a hearing in this case within about 30, 45 days at the most. Aaron, what do you think?
Yeah, I think usually within a month to 2 months, we can hopefully get it set.
Yeah, and I think that just the filing will, because we're going to serve them and they know the rules. And if they don't start interviewing people right away, they're going to have to be accountable to the judge. You say, Judge, they've now known when we have a hearing, it's been a month. They haven't interviewed anybody. They've only interviewed a few people. They still blowing off regional ban people because the regional bans are not going away. They're not going away next week. They're not going away. They're going to be extended. It might be modified, but they're not going away. So that's that news. Now, there is another piece of litigation already active on the website, Greg, and that is for the NIE, the regional ban. Travel ban, what's called the Travel Ban Litigation. The Travel Ban Litigation is only for people in the regional ban countries. A lot of people call it the Schengen bans, right? No,
that's about.
It's a bad name.
Yeah, but it's about 30 of the 35 countries. So.
Yeah, so unless South Africa has got a massive geographic shift and China jumped over the rest of
Schengen Plus.
Schengen Plus. So we call it the regional ban or travel ban lawsuit. This is for anybody in the regional travel ban areas where the consulate's telling you we can't interview you because you have a ban. No, we can't give you a visa. You have a ban. We have people we know. They actually were told this. We would give you the visa, but we have a ban. Sorry. So that case is only a mandamus. It's not meant to get your case interviewed faster.
No. That one's declaratory, but not mandamus.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's not a mandamus.
Oh, I thought you said that one's not. Oh, got it.
It's a declaratory judgment. We're not your lawyers to get your case done faster. We're the giant snowplow that's coming through Denver last week, or Memphis last month, getting rid of 4 feet of snow so you can drive down the road. So
Right.
that we're the defensive back. I don't even know how to put it in a football term.
There are still a couple of reasons why people shouldn't be free riders here, though, on here, because some people may say, well, it's like, well, why should I join? Because if it wins, then it helps me, and I don't have to pay, or support the case.
No.
There's two reasons that I would tell people to look at. One is that it's possible that the judge will not order it for everybody; that it will just be for the plaintiffs. There's been a trend in American litigation where judges do that, where they don't like universal declarations. They don't like across the board decisions. So it's possible that just our plaintiffs will benefit from that. That's not what we're asking for. We're asking for universal relief, but it's possible the judge may say, no, I'm only limiting it to those who sued. And then the second thing is, even if the judge does make it universal, we will ask for our plaintiffs to be given consideration and to go first, which is also something that often happens. It's not a guarantee, but oftentimes that's something that we're able to achieve.
Let me give what's going to be a frequently asked question. What if you are a DV 2021 selectee who's also subject to a regional ban? Do you need to join both lawsuits, or are you covered with the DV 2021 suit?
Well, we have some Anunciato people that are joining the regional ban, and also we're not charging them to be in that case. So you can be. I mean, you couldn't. In theory, I guess you could be in both, right? Because the other is the new DV case. We're not making a regional ban argument in it, are we?
Yeah, I mean, yes, we're attacking the regional ban in the DV 2021.
Right. So you don't need to be then. Actually, so in that case. So Aaron, are we then moving these people out of that case into the new case?
We will. So we've been developing all of this as we go to try to make sure we have everybody with a place to go, with a suit that's going to cover their needs. And so it's been developing, but what we've determined is we're going to make sure we take care of the regional bans within the DV 2021 case as well. And so that's where DV 2021 people should be. They will not need to be in both.
Chuck, I think it's worth mentioning as well, because some people have been asking, it's like, why are you not making this new case like Milligan, where it's both mandamus and a declaration? And one of the things we're asking for a TRO in the regional travel ban case, and also, I mean, the goal is speed and simplicity.
The problem is, keep in mind, Milligan, the judge never ruled on the mandamus action. That is still there. The bigger problem when you bring a lot of people in that have different, this is very different in the DV 2021 context. Everybody has the same deadline. Everybody's in the same situation, especially when the numbers become current. When you are, like in the K case, you might have somebody who literally just got approved yesterday. And you may have somebody who's waiting a year to get a visa. The judge is going to look at it and goes, this is not an unreasonable delay to get approved yesterday, not get a visa today. But on the issue of you have to issue a visa, you have to schedule these people eventually. That is why that's important. So that's why we're not seeking a mandamus action, because we're going to have plaintiffs. We're going to have family-based plaintiffs. We're going to have employment-based plaintiffs. We're going to have Ks and Hs and Ls and everybody in that case getting rid of the note that you can't not issue us a visa.
Now, here's a strategy question that I've been getting from folks. Should I file an individual, if I'm subject to these regional travel bans and I join this case, should I pursue an individual mandamus separately now, or should I wait until there's a decision?
I think it depends. I think you should consult with one of us about it, or with somebody about it, because, for example, I talked with somebody today who just had their case, I think, sent to the NVC within the last couple of months, I think it was, and they were wondering if we can do mandamus, and their case was within processing times for pre-COVID times, and so what I said was, I don't think it's ripe for that.
But I'm saying, if it's somebody that would have a strong mandamus case on their own, but they're subject to the regional ban on there, should they hold off and then get this issue cleared out of the way and then pursue what would be a very good mandamus case, Or if you file a mandamus now, but this issue is not dealt with yet, is that going to create a problem on a mandamus case?
You would want to include the challenge to a separate challenge to this in the individual case along with the mandamus.
But then could you be in our case too?
No.
Okay, so you have to make a choice.
Yeah,
you got to make a case. You can't do both as part of this. All right, so that's the NIE challenge case. The next case that I want to just briefly talk about here, because it's relatively small, but it is our EB5 challenge. We have a number of plaintiffs. We were going to have this at 25 people. We didn't have 25 sign up, but we're going to help everybody anyway. So my partner Danielle Claffey and I are preparing that litigation. All the EB5 folks that signed up will be getting an email tomorrow. Greg, you need to let Danielle have access to that list. And we're going to get this filed. The goal is by this Friday, to file this mandamus action. I think almost all of our plaintiffs may be from China. We might have one from Brazil, but basically the consulate's just like not issuing the visas. It's just like they were never barred from issuing them. And it's unclear whether they're using the regional travel ban to do so, a little unclear, but they were never covered in the regional travel ban for EB5s. So, we'll see what happens, but we're going to go ahead and file that. And then also subsequently file a preliminary injunction to get you guys their visa issued. Because again, you have a year issue. Nobody's using these visa numbers. EB5s are disappearing, and China has an immense line. And every year that goes by without issuing all the visas a day is a year you don't get the visas. It's just crazy. So that's our EB5. You guys will be getting an email tomorrow as well from us on that. All right, we've got the next one. Oh, the K cases. All right. I don't know. Is Jennifer going to talk about K's here, Aaron, or not? Is she ready to talk about K's?
Sure.
All right, Jennifer, you ready? We're going to talk about the Philippines. Yes, we know. All of our Milligan folks in Manila, the 23 folks. I know Jeff and Jennifer are working with government counsel to find out what the hell's going on. I mean, really, Jennifer, are we ready to file the motion with the court? Where are we on that?
That Jeff has it now. I have sent it to him. He's reviewing it, and then we'll make the final touches and get it filed.
So we should have that filed tomorrow or so, next day or so?
Hopefully, yeah.
All right, put some pressure on him, okay?
Yeah. I just emailed him to see what.
So this is a separate, keep in mind, Milligan, again, the judge is sitting on mandamus actions. What we're going to do is we're going to take anybody we're going to attack Manila directly is what we're going to do. We're going to name them in the lawsuit. We're going to talk about their intransigence. We're going to talk about how they keep moving the goalposts. We're going to talk about how they're ignoring people who his medical exams are expiring and forcing huge expenses of money, travel expenses, staying in Manila, and the fact, as Greg pointed out, the rate of COVID in Manila is a quarter of what it is in the United States. It's just unacceptable that they haven't figured out a way how to issue these visas without going through a different process. So, it is one way that we can go about trying to force their hands on this. So if you're interested in that suit, there's an intake page. For Milligan, folks, you do not need to do this suit, okay? We've got your back apart from this. So, and yes, you are ahead of everybody else. We're not even filing it for a couple of weeks, all right? So we are working on you. So you don't need to worry about it. Don't be angry. Oh, yeah. It's okay. We got you. Right. Now, Brazil, unfortunately, Milligan, we had great success in Brazil. But Brazil remains a problem for everybody else. Now, part of the problem with Brazil is that it's Brazil. Leaderless, rudderless, nightmarish COVID situation. I mean, it looks like Iraq before the war. It's just terrible what's going on down there. So we're going to go after that consulate directly as well on K1 litigation. And we're still short a couple plaintiffs in that litigation, but we're prepared to move forward. And again, that's going to be, hey, you've got to prioritize people. Now, Greg, I did hear, I don't know if you saw this same thing. I thought I had heard somebody at state saying that K1s will now be processed with the same priority as spouses of U.S. citizens. I read that somewhere, but I haven't seen it in practice anywhere.
the mystery link that you will not. Chuck sent that around to our listserv, and it was like, "Where's that come from?" And it's like, "What?"
It was from the National Law Review. We need to reach out to that author and say, "Where did you get this?" Because
if anybody can find it for us, that would be very helpful. We can kind of crowdsource with our plaintiffs.
where that is, nobody seems to know because it just literally came out of the woodwork. And then, of course, the last thing we want to mention are our friends in Egypt. They are not forgotten. Yes, we know. Now, I understand that Egypt, this is K1s, but it also includes spouses, all right? So it's both K1s and spouses. Supposedly, they did start interviewing, is what I heard. But I guess they're too busy going on trips to Giza to see the pyramids and inviting ballet troops to the embassy, if you go to their webpage, to help people. Now, I will tell you one thing about Cairo is their immigrant visa chief he did a video. And he went on YouTube and did a little video about how we're working and how we're backlogged and how we're getting caught up. But so if you're interested in Cairo, there is your information. And all of these things are on all of these mass litigation client pages you will find right here. We're going to help everybody as much as we possibly can to get this stuff done.
By the way, I'm looking in here. If you ask us questions on us to compare our case to another lawyer's case, we're not going to answer because frankly, I don't have the time to study what the other lawyers are doing. So we're not answering that. You can do the research. We provide an FAQ on each one of these cases that say what the plan is, what the legal theory is, who's an ideal plaintiff for it, what we're not doing. We try and be very transparent in these FAQs as far as there's not a lot of puffery or anything like that. And hopefully that provides you what you need to know.
All right, that's great. Now, a couple other updates. There is no update in Gomez and Aker. I don't know when the judge is going to rule. The government filed their response to our motion for summary judgment. It was as typical, blah, 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 blah. Our reply is due this week. We will send our reply in, and then the judge will set a hearing date. My guess is sometime near the end of April is my guess, if not even in May. For all our DV 2021 folks, we still don't know who gets the 9,095. Yes, we're fighting for the rest of the visas, and that's all I got for DV 2020. Milligan, people are coming in. People are getting their visas. We had some good folks this week get them. We have any idea how many we have left in any of Milligan 1 or 2? There can't be very many.
One of the round one, there were like 4 or 5 people left from round one, and there's 4 left. All right, so there's 4 left there. We have been getting a very nice. It's been going at a pretty nice clip round 2, except for the Philippines, which we know on there, which is still not a single Filipino has gotten a K1 yet. That's in round 2. We do seem to have gotten the U.S. attorney engaged on that issue. So I'm hopeful that we're going to have some answers very soon as far as why they're not doing anything. We had several conversations this week about that. But generally speaking, round 2 is moving pretty, I think we're well. Luke actually probably has a better idea on round 2. Round 3 is also, moving along on there. Now, some of these consulates are like, people are a little disappointed to get a June appointment, but they are getting appointments from countries where nobody else is getting them. So that's good.
That's a good
but generally speaking, we're pleased, and I think we're actually seeing people move faster to getting appointments from round 3 than we were seeing with round 2, which is encouraging.
Yeah. We did see the rather obnoxious email from Dublin that a couple of our clients sent us. It said, yeah, the judge told us to issue visas, but he didn't tell us to take it out of order. So, yeah. And yet at the same time, they just issued a K1 to one of our plaintiffs. So we have brought...
Well, there is no order because they're not doing K1s for anybody else but our plaintiffs.
Except for our clients. So,
what's the order? It makes no sense. It's like, who's going in front of you? That's a K1 on there. Nobody. So that's a nonsense answer.
It was a loony email. It's just designed to make somebody angry, I think. So on Tate, we were last week down to 7 people. I think we're down to 5 now. I think
It's the 01 case, just for people.
the 01 case, I think, and that's from 38 folks. And I would hope in the next week or so that everybody will have their visas. I've talked to the government lawyer. The government did appeal that case, just like they appealed Milligan, the order. But I mean, this should be mooted out long before then. So we're not going to worry about an appeal, although that's there. And if you have questions about it, you can email me on the Tate stuff. On the Purdue, just so you know, we are 2 cases that we're involved in. One is the lottery case, the H-1B lottery case. We're actually going to be working with ALA on the H-1B lottery case. That'll be ready to file next week. It's actually done. We're just adding plaintiffs to it now so that we can attack this remarkably stupid rule, which is completely contrary to the plain language of the statute about how you pick people in the lottery. Oddly enough, Greg, it doesn't say, pick the people that get paid the most. Law doesn't say that, oddly enough.
Nope, it's invented out of thin air.
And we're also working, if I'm not mistaken, with ALA on the regional ban litigation. ALA is partnering with us on that. And we're excited to welcome Jesse Bless to our team for that particular case. We don't have Jesse join us here because he does work for ALA. So we don't want to give that imprimatur to everything we're doing, but let you know that we're working on that. And those are 2 very, very important cases that we're handling for a lot of people. That is part of our other pro bono effort. We've got, let's see, I think that's all the updates that I promised. Greg, Danielle's email is dclaffey@immigration.net.
I just put her on that list. So we also, Chuck, did you say anything about the K1 Manila specific case for people that are not?
Yeah, we talked about that. About it. You must have been like on Google.
I'm sorry. I just want to there's so many of them. I'm just trying to make sure we didn't miss anybody.
It's not usually, it takes us 38 minutes to do a summary of all the cases we have going on. Hopefully this will be the longest one we have to do. Let's see. We got a couple. We're going to take some questions here. Milligan, the motion to amend. That's actually, as Jennifer talked about, on Jeff's desk. Hopefully that'll go out shortly. Somebody asked if they can send an email to the private LinkedIn of a U.S. consular chief. Look, dude, it's your case. You can do anything you want to.
It's public servant.
Again, one of our initial plaintiffs in Milligan DM'd the ambassador of Mexico, the Trump ambassador of Mexico. And I think he helped him get an appointment in Ciudad Juarez. So as long as you're courteous and nice, don't be a jerk. But being courteous and nice, there's nothing wrong.
That's always correct. Be professional and be courteous. But Chuck knows maybe from my history that I have this problem with the government's lack of transparency when it comes to email addresses and making themselves available and putting their names on decisions.
It is Greg, I have an early newspaper article here in Atlanta where they sued them because they wouldn't give us the telephone list of the local us in 1995. They wouldn't give us the telephone list of the people in charge of things. Yeah. And so we sued them over that. Just a fun thing. Somebody did ask how many plaintiffs we have in the Brazil K1. We've got a lot. We're moving forward, but we could use more. All right. Yeah. That's how we're going to look at that. Regional ban litigation, that is moving forward. We need more. I mean, if you want to ensure that you are protected in the regional ban litigation, you need to sign up. We're moving forward with it. Okay, we're going to file it. All right, but if you're in there, you'll be more protected. All right. Here's my question. It's a great question. What are your chances of winning the Acquia versus the USCIS? Acquia US versus USCIS, I think, is the lawsuit on the rejection of PADs, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? Or the rejection of the judgment?
You're correct. That's the one that's in Boston.
Yeah. I think the chance of winning that is pretty damn good, actually. I think what will happen is not that a judge will order it, but that immigration will adopt a policy fixing the problem is what I think will happen. All right. Let's see. A lot of these we already answered. Let's see. Kind of going through this. Okay, let's.
Oh, somebody's asking about a Moscow specific case. So we're studying that right now. We're not ready to, but basically on these cases, it really is in order to be economical for us to be able to take a case, we usually need to have about 100 plaintiffs. And so that's going to be the question as far as whether that makes sense or not.
All right. I know Greg said we don't know about these other cases. Man, I've never read Jacob. I don't know who the plaintiffs are, but it appears from this question that the Jacob case has DV 2021 people.
Let me back up. If a case is already pending and it affects our cases, we're keeping up to date on those cases. I'm talking about cases that are onboarding with other firms that they are, those are, I'm not paying attention to what other firms are considering filing down the road.
Yeah. So I read what Judge Chen wrote. Judge Chen wrote, to Curtis and his team, hey, your case is mostly about family. I think he was judging in the sheer number of plaintiffs. And Anunciato is mostly about DVs because there's more DVs than there were family. And so I want to see what Judge Seaborg does with those before he rules. I was a little unclear what he was talking about. I hadn't read the whole decision. Somebody just cut and pasted. I'm going to defer to Curtis on his case. He's the expert on his case. And we'll be dealing with Anunciato as we talked about earlier today. All right. Yes, Gus, I could tell you your update on Montreal. I think you're one of two people in Montreal. And we're with the government every couple of days about Montreal. And I can't give you an answer. And Jennifer, Aaron, you don't know anything more than I do, right, about this? Yeah. So, we're working on it. You're not forgotten. I can tell you this. Let's see. We're getting litigation advice from people. That's very sweet of you about how we should do stuff. Again, don't pay at the last minute if you want to be in the Brazil litigation. The cutoff for that, Jeff, by the way, is, Greg, is, let's see, March 31. So you have 9 days. 9 days. Don't wait till 9 days, okay? Can we take Jacob plaintiffs? For what? You have a lawyer, okay? I'm not intimately detailed familiar with the Jacob case. So
let me just tell, because it's come up already in this call, you can't sort of have a backup case that's basically making similar arguments on there. You have to pick one. You're not allowed to basically spread yourself between multiple cases that are arguing over the same thing. So that's the one thing I'll say generally about making a decision on it. Now, if the two cases are dealing with completely different issues on there, you can be in more than one lawsuit at a time. So, for example, you can pursue a mandamus case and you can pursue a case on the regional travel ban at the same time, which we were talking about before, because they're making different arguments and they're dealing with different issues on there. But you can't be in two cases that are challenging the same thing.
Right. Somebody answered Mike Crawford's message already about getting your case number from the NVC. Let's see here. Jurgen, take a look at the intake. I'm going to let you do that. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. All the monies are talked about on the intake page, so we'll let you go there to take a look at that. A lot of people in Anunciato are current on the visa bulletin, but as you know, they're not interviewing anybody. All right? They're not interviewing anybody. We'll bring that up in our motion to dismiss so the judge knows. And again, putting them on notice for the new lawsuit. Okay? Let's see. Let's see. A lot of same questions here. I do have to ask. I have no idea what green animal Kevin is referring to. That's a plant. Oh, is he talking about Professor Yoda in the background? I have my Professor Yoda picture up.
We have our first 4 plaintiffs in the DV litigation, which has been since we've been on this YouTube video.
Oh, good. That's awesome. Okay.
That's great.
Okay. The DV 2021 new case is a mandamus. Yep. It is a mandamus. Okay. It's a deck action and a mandamus. Daria, you got to listen more closely. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, there's your Moscow question right there. I have no idea what Nicolette Glazer's lawsuit is. Let's see. Let's see. A lot of the same questions that we've answered. Danielle, we're actually looking forward to naming our friends in Manila. That should be a lot of fun in that particular case. All right. Yeah, Martin is the one who let us know about, one of two people let us know about the Manila thing here. All right, let's see. A lot of questions here.
Yeah, we do forward the really strange emails to the government lawyers.
Yeah, right away. I mean, we don't sit on that stuff. Yeah, by the way, you can call the NVC. I mean, they have a phone number, and the best time to call, Greg, is
late in the evening. They work till like 10 o'clock at night, and so usually those last 2 hours are the latest ones because nobody can believe they're actually working at that time.
Yeah, plus everybody's asleep.
I have to say, I mean, we dump on them a lot, but that's actually pretty impressive that they have those kind of hours.
Yeah, Well, and by the way, the case, here's one thing that's frustrating. We're actually talking about this a little bit in the DV case, is whether we should name the KCC itself. The Kentucky Consular Center is personally responsible for the DV 2020 backlog because they stopped doing intake. They literally stopped taking cases.
They're going to try and move that case to Kentucky.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't necessarily want to do. Why not? We don't name them. We don't want to be in Mitch McConnell's backyard. That's for sure. We can name them without naming them is what we can do. All right.
Yeah. My home state, by the way.
You're from Kentucky. I had no idea.
Kentucky native. No one believes it.
I can tell by you and Mitch McConnell have the same strange accent. Let's see. Here's an interesting question about K1s in Frankfurt. This is strange, isn't it, Jennifer? Because in round one, they reached out to K1 people. What changed in Frankfurt?
They're still giving appointments.
I don't know.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
It was just very strange because they couldn't reach out. You can join without the RDJ number, but as long as you have an approval notice, again, read the FAQs. FAQs go into all these details.
We have at least 3 couples in Frankfurt that have interviews scheduled on April 6th. So some of them are.
There you go. They are interviewing. So there you go. Rio hasn't scheduled most of us, but has scheduled some in Rio. We're working on that. And again, the new Brazil K1s will not be in front of you guys. You got your back on that. Let's see. Vulcan is from, I don't know. Vulcan, really? That's a cool name. Is your best friend named Jim? That would be great. Vulcan lived there for 3 little Star Trek jokes.
Parents are both Wildcats.
All right, there you go. So those are what's going on as far as this process. There is lots of onboarding stuff you want to take a look at. You can go here.
Chuck, you're going to mirror that. I imagine, Aaron, you're going to mirror those the pages.
We'll be mirroring them on our page. So immigration.net will have that, and immigrationissues.com will have these pages as well. We'll take a look and add those mirror sites to this as well. It all goes back to Greg. Greg is the genius of tech. What most of you don't know is
when these apps break, it's something I screwed up.
Yeah. Well, what you don't know is Greg actually had the first website for lawyers, not just immigration lawyers, but lawyers. Greg is a pioneer.
I had a full head of hair.
Yeah, full head of hair. Greg's also developed a new app for H-1Bs and LCAs. He's got some really other cool technology coming forward. Greg is just absolutely new book. You have a new book with Jason Susser that's out. Is that right? For our book?
That was 2020 book. I thought you were talking about the one with Ari Sauer that's coming.
Yeah, well, Ari's coming and doing that as well. Congrats to Ari and to Lily on their new partnerships. That's just great news. So that's it for today. We don't have, wait a second, 10 new questions popped up. The fees for, by the way, on the DV 2021 and for the NIE stuff, it's a charge per family, not per person.
Right.
Okay.
Don't sign up separately if you're all.
It's per family. So family of one, family of 400, which you're prolific, I guess, but only one wife. It's the same fee because, again, this is a deck action to push your cases forward and the mandamus to move forward. But we're not doing your paperwork at the embassy. It's to get you the appointments on this stuff. Okay. All right. There you go. Only plaintiffs already at the consulate. We're scheduled. This is the thing about Rio. This is the funny part. We talked about this before. Is they will tell you, hey, we're waiting on the files from the National Visa Center, and apparently somebody at the National Visa Center drives to the nearest port and puts on a steamer to get to Rio by slow boat because they haven't heard of the FedEx machine that picks it up and delivers it the next day. So that's kind of what they're waiting on. And Greg, you and I know these cases are electronicized. They're not waiting.
For the most part, they are. There's still some paper files, but for the most part, it's all done.
Really, a K1 is basically 30 or 40 pieces of paper.
Yeah, what's happening is the NVC is sitting on all of these cases, waiting on the consulates to say they have capacity. So when the consulate says they're waiting on the NVC, it's always the consulate that's lying. The NVC, I'm telling you, the consulates are lying on here when they say that they're waiting on the NVC to send it to them. The NVC has 500,000 cases that are sitting there, and they will send these cases to every consulate that specifically requests it. So if the consulate requests it, the NVC isn't holding it up.
Yeah, and so everybody knows, Greg mentioned that magic number. January 1, 2020, the National Visa Center had 70,000 cases that were processed and ready to go out. Today, they have 500,000. Why are cases taking so long?
Good question.
There you go. 500 because they just stopped.
Well, they now say that the biggest laugh was after saying was COVID for the last year. Now they're using the excuse saying, well, we're having financial problems.
Yes, that was hilarious. I guess if it worked for the USCIS, it'll work for the consulates. Is that the page?
Yes, I don't know.
And what's really frustrating,
I don't know what they did with all the money that people paid to handle these cases.
Twice. How many DV 2020 people paid twice for their visa, and some of them didn't even get it. So this is outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous and literally utter nonsense. London, why are London so far out? Wasn't there a riot in Bristol today? In England, don't you guys have issues? I think that actually is a direct result of the unrest in the UK. I don't think it's London has issued a lot of visas for us in the K's, in the O's. They really did a lot of stuff so far. So I think it's just
round one. They were slow in round one for a while. And then they got better. And then they got better. They kind of have been a mixed performance. I'm encouraged at least that they're giving people dates on there. I mean, and the dates are not great. I mean, they're 60 days or so out, which is not horrible, but it's not like Moscow, which was telling people it's like giving dates 6 months out for interview.
Right. Now, 01s, this is Amy. Amy's our friend. She said this, they're giving 01s waiting since August of last year. The reason we're not doing an unreasonable delay challenge in the regional travel ban is because everybody's case is at different steps. And a judge will toss it. He will toss it. The government will move to toss it if the diversity between the plaintiffs is too broad. And that's what it will be. So what we're doing by clearing the path is that you then file an individual mandamus that says, dude, you had confirmation on visa, we're waiting a year. Issue my visa.
I will say this case is better for people who have been waiting a long time.
Right.
You're more likely. So probably for a lot of you folks, it's probably the only thing that's preventing you from getting the visa is the ban itself. Once that's out of the way, you should be at the front of the line. If you have a really old, if you've been sitting for a long time waiting, if you just got to the NVC, for example, our case is probably not going to make that much of a difference for you. And for some of you, what you'll want to do is, is be prepared to do a mandamus later on when your case is delayed enough that you can justify it, and you'll have this issue cleared out of the way. So this is part one, and you still may need to do part two with an individual mandamus.
On Milligan, Jennifer, Aaron, this is what's sitting on Jeff's desk. All right, this is sitting on Jeff's desk. Hopefully that'll be next day or so and be done. Hey, look, Johannesburg, 3 Africa, hey, woo! Mm-hmm. Which is a good thing because it's the same consulate. Remember last week? They said, I never heard of Milligan. I know what you're talking about. I know nothing.
And then they were saying it's like, hey, you're not a plaintiff.
Yeah, it's like Sergeant Schultz from Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah, we had probably a dozen or so of, actually, this is a good thing to mention. We did have some people who were the consulates are telling them they can't verify them that they're plaintiffs on there. Most of you probably have reached out to us, and we have passed your names on, and hopefully that issue is cleared up. But if they've told you that and you haven't told us on there, then tell us.
Hey, we have not talked about a UK specific group because we haven't had a huge number approach us about that. But if you've got a bunch of folks that are interested, you need to email Aaron or Jennifer. You can email them. That would be great. Let's see. So if this is actually Cody, if they're financially struggling, why is the embassy posting so many new hire positions? Why are they hiring? Wait, well, Cody,
they're not struggling financially. They do need, actually, that is the biggest problem that they have at the State Department is half the agency quit under the last administration. So they do have to hire up a bunch of people. And it's a prestigious job, being a foreign service officer. So it shouldn't be all that hard to find.
No, and even if they're advertising locally for national staff there, that's a very prestigious job to work at the embassy. Yeah. Can't imagine I have a hard time doing that. Hey, Shelby, all your boyfriend's got to do, or you, I don't know which one of you, your boyfriend is, if he's got ESTA, he just needs to go to Mexico for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Because
the travel ban is not going. I mean, the Schengen ban, that's not going away. It's just not going away. Heb will be reaching out to the family-based EB plaintiffs, but we don't see that happening. So there you go in the Anunciato case. All right. Let's see. No updates on Amsterdam, although you're prominently listed in our email this morning again to our folks. And that looks like about it. Our hour's up. It's great, everybody. Hopefully Jeff will be back next week. If something pops this week or something happens, we will, of course, be back. But expect Biden to extend or talk about extending the bans at least for another 60 days. For Biden, it's all about COVID 24/7. And if that means protecting Americans, that's exactly how he's going to do that. Any final words, Aaron, Jennifer, Greg? All right, everybody.
No.
Bye-bye.